So, welcome back to another episode. And this one I call Retro Goodness because, honestly, I went to an entire convention of retro goodness, and that was the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And I wanted to show you guys some of the things that I picked up while I was there, some retro games. And the one thing I will say for a retro gaming convention like this is I've been to some conventions, and the prices are ridiculous. Like, a game that should go for maybe $40, they're pricing for like $150. Some of the prices are stupid. I gotta say that Portland, the prices that I saw, I was taken back, and I think you'll be taken back about some of the things I picked up and for the prices that I paid. I'll explain all that. So I will just go through some of these. Okay, so a lot of what I picked up was NES games, boxed NES games, because that's the way I collect them, my personal preference. But here's one I've wanted for, since I was a little kid, and that is Golgo 13, Top Secret episode. Oh man, like, I remember reading about this, and I was a big anime fan back in 1988-89. I just kind of was really getting into it. And I saw this NES game. I saw it only in magazines, and I always wanted to play it. And I never got a chance to. And it was only a few years ago I got to play the ROM of it. That was the only way I was ever able to try it out. And it was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is a cool kind of game. But I guess what was unique to me back then was that this was an anime-style game on the NES. And I was really bummed that I never got to play it back in the day. This is one that I do regret not getting. But it's so nice. Like, okay, I got this. Look at this. Look at this. This is box, mint, fresh, case, everything for it. Under $20. I think it was 18 bucks. Next up is a game. Very, very fond memories of this game. And a lot of people came up to me and they were like asking me at the convention, oh, what games did you pick up? And I was showing them these games, and then like, they were kind of like, oh, why would you get those? And I was like, I collect games that I have memories with, that I can, have a moment that takes me back. And Baseball Stars is one of those games. I bought this game for full price, nearly, I think it was $80 back in maybe 1988, I believe it was, or 89. I was so excited because it was like I suck at playing baseball, the game, but I enjoy the game of baseball. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna get this. And I played the ever-loving crap out of Baseball Stars. And this is by SNK. And they released Baseball Stars on the Neo Geo as well. And Baseball Stars 2. And it's funny, there's not a lot of sports games I like. But god damn it, I like the original Baseball Stars on the NES. And I remember me and my dad used to play this back in the day. So there's a lot of fond memories. And I never thought I'd ever get Baseball Stars in the box again. Box mint? Guess how much? 17 bucks. Pretty good deal. Okay, StarTropics. I'm a fan of that game. And I was able to get Zoda's Revenge, StarTropics 2. And I was standing there looking at the game and I'm thinking, man, that's pretty mint. That's pretty nice. And I asked the guy, I said, how much is that game? And I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be like $60, $70. 20 bucks. I'm not kidding you. Honestly, not kidding you. So, maybe there was a big print run. This is the thing about StarTropics 2 that I don't know. I really thought it was a much rarer game than what it is. I didn't have a clue. It was just going for $20. I'm like, I'll take it. Great. Okay, there was one game that I was willing to spend a little bit of money, and I spent $70 on this. $70 on this retro super mint copy of Castlevania 1. Huh. I couldn't believe it. I've always wanted Castlevania 1. It's such a classic. And just to have a really nice mint copy of it is just awesome. I'm really happy to get that. I already have Castlevania 2, so this is getting the collection kind of rounded out in that way. But honestly, I think on this trip for me, there's been a bunch of NES games that I've always wanted, and I've really nearly got everything I could have, that I have a memory with that meant something, that I really want to own. I think I'm nearly there. And that's a good feeling. That's a really cool feeling. So, Castlevania, $70. Look at that. So nice. I'm laughing at this game. This was another game. I'm walking around the convention. People are like, what are you looking for? And I said this game, and they're like, why are you looking for that game? I'm like, well, it's hard to describe, but back in '88, this was a really big deal game. It was probably the best skateboarding type of game at the time. Was the skateboarding game, pretty much. And that is TNC Surf Designs. And this was the last game that I picked up because I couldn't find it. I was looking around and then somebody's like, I think I saw one over that stand way over there, and I went over. Lo and behold, look at this, $18. $18 I got TNC. The one thing I always remember about this game, and it's such a calming, comfort zone type of game. I know this is so dumb to say, but when I turn it on, and you just hear the ocean, but the 8-bit version of the ocean. It's so fucking calming to me. I don't know what it is. It's one of those things that really takes me back to a place in my childhood when I played this game. And, oh my god, of all games, TNC, I know everybody's like, why the fuck are you looking for TNC Surf Designs? I'm like, because all my friends had this game too. Everybody was, and it was so difficult. I mean, this game was absolutely fucking insane. I don't think, my friends seem to be pretty good at it. I never was, so... TNC, of all the games I was looking for at this convention, almost more than Castlevania, this is the game that excited me the most. Isn't that funny? Now, here's something that's gonna definitely date me, if I'm not already dated. But I remember reading a video game magazine. I think back in '88. Is 88 or '89? I was getting kind of like somewhere in there. But I remember sitting in bed and I had a flashlight and I'm reading this video game magazine, and I had my headphones on, okay? And I'm listening to the radio. This is before the internet. And I'm like looking, and I'm reading about this game. And all of a sudden, a song came on the radio. And I remember them saying, from the brand new Batman movie, from the soundtrack, we're going to play this original song for you for the very first time. And it's called Bat Dance by Prince. And then, the game I was reading about was Roger Rabbit. Isn't that so unbelievably funny? Let's have a look at the year. Yeah, 89. 87, Walt Disney Company, 89. Why did I get this game? Because I have memories tied back to it back then. Now, remember, the movie came out, Roger Rabbit, and I went to the theater. I was just the right age. I thought it was great. I thought it was such a cool movie, combining live action and tunes and cartoons at the time. I mean, it was, as a kid, it was such a great movie. And obviously, when you're a kid and you hear about a game based on your favorite movie that you just watched, you're in. You wanna get this game no matter what. And I didn't buy the game back then. I rented it because that's what you would do. You'd rent video games. So I rented this game. And I know the AVGN did a huge episode on it, and I was laughing about it back when he first did that episode. I was like, man, yeah, he did it well, because I hated Roger Rabbit the game because I was no good at it and I didn't understand what you were supposed to do. It just starts you off and you're trying to punch somebody and I'm like, what else can you do? There's nothing else I could understand to do. And then you're driving around in that car. I didn't know where to go. I mean, it was really confusing. And it bugged me because it was Roger fucking Rabbit. Roger Rabbit was supposed to be good. It was supposed to be good. In my mind, it was supposed to be great. And it wasn't. And when I played it, my mind couldn't wrap my own head around that. It was so fucked up. I was like, how can the game be bad? This is supposed to be awesome. So, but I bought it because maybe it was the anticipation of reading that video game magazine that night, and I would look at pictures of it all the time. I even remember drawing what my own little version of the game would be. I remember that, and yeah, what a fucking disappointment, but what a nostalgic memory. Okay, This game. Talk about the nostalgia. Me and Rob, I remember it was probably about 3 years ago. We got really drunk one night and we came back to my place and we were looking for a game to put on and, to get some kind of memories going. And we put on this and the music plays like no other. And I have the cartridge, but I didn't have boxing complete. Shadowgate. What a great game from back in the day. This is a point and click adventure game, and I never got that far into the game, but my friend Andrew had it down the street and I watched him play it quite a few times, and he was really good at it. And Rob was really he really loved this game as well. And oh my god, that opening goddamn music is just so nostalgic. I mean, it takes me from my living room. As soon as I turn on the music, I am right back in 1989. It's just so right back there. And what a great box art. It still holds up really, really well today. Yeah. Shadowgate. Ugh. And trying to complete my NES RPG collection, I'm working on it, is a game I never played back then. And I never played it on the PC, anything like that. And that is Bard's Tale. Yeah, the Bard's Tale on the NES. I never ever played it. I just remember that my friend had it on PC. It was very long-winded. I remember it just took forever to do anything, but that's what the games were back then, just fighting a lot of different monsters. That's all you would really do in these types of games back then. But I wanted to complete my my RPGs because I can't collect every game on the NES, and nor do I want to. But RPGs from back then is very nostalgic for me, so I'm trying to get all of those. Bard's Tale, we're getting closer there. So, and on my final day there, nearly one of the last games I got for $10, Lady Stalker. Kind of the spiritual prequel to Landstalker, if you want to say that. And yeah, I've never played it. I've only ever heard about it. I remember reading about it in game magazines back in the day. I think Game Fan was talking about it. So I was like, $10? It's pretty immense. Hell yeah, I'll give this a go. So I'm really curious to try this game out. So after our panel, we were doing signings, and I can't believe we were signing people's stuff. That anybody would want anything signed by me. Seemed kind of ridiculous to me. But all of a sudden, some guy shows up in front of me and says, "Hey, I created this game. I want you to have it here." And I'm like, "Wow!" I was so humbled by it. And it's such an experience, such a moment that now I do this show on YouTube, and game creators are coming up to me, giving me their games. I was so blown away. But an indie game developer, that's the difference to me, and that's why I'm going to take a second to have a look at this and to plug it a little bit. He created his own NES game right here, Armed for Battle. Let's have a look at that. Really nice box art. Big congrats on that. This is fantastic. So he gave me a note with it. I'm going to read his note because it's pertaining to this game perfectly. About the game, real-time strategy on the NES. Warcraft 2 had a heavy influence. The official trailer is the best way to get a feel for the gameplay. Do a search for Armed for Battle official trailer. So Armed for Battle official trailer, guys. Check it out. And so I just want to say to you, it says by 1010 Howie. That's the name you go by. Because I don't remember your name when you came up to me. But I want to say a big thank you for giving me your game. I really appreciate it. And I want to say to you, congratulations on making your own NES game. That is an incredible accomplishment. I'm quite jealous of such a feat, and I'm sure this is a major project of passion for you. I can tell that. I checked out all your quick start guide and all that stuff, all the stuff you gave me, and I just wanted to thank you again, and I really appreciate you giving me your game. Thank you. Only a couple more Portland pickups to go. Here, look at this. I got the official Nintendo Power strategy guide to Ninja Gaiden 2. And I don't know if you can see that price tag there. $5. And it's mint from back in the day. To get this, if you subscribe to Nintendo Power, you can end up getting this. And I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to get this. $5? I mean, all the NES games were under $20 each. And they're all games that I wanted. It's really good, you know what I mean? So whenever I'm down in the States, I always like to check out a store called Hot Topic because we don't have them in Canada. And there's such unique shirts and things in the store that we definitely don't see up here. So there was a bunch of us down there, and we all walked into this Hot Topic in this mall. And we're looking around, and there's a lot of generic video game shirts that I had not really much interest in. But then I saw this shirt, and I was just like, oh my god, I have to buy this right away and not even think twice about it. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. I mean, how could I not get this shirt? This is so awesome. What a great shirt. And how much was this shirt? $20, yeah. So my last pickup, and it's not a video game pickup, it's something else. So we're in Portland. We'd been drinking quite a bit on the Sunday night as well, and we went to Ground Control. It was a arcade bar, which is just really cool. So we were there drinking, and anyways, there was a bunch of us, and we were walking back, and we're checking out Portland. And as we're walking back, there was a comic book store, and I looked in the window of the comic book store, and I saw this comic book, and I was like, oh my god, I've been looking for that for ages, and the shipping price has always been a little bit up there to bring it in here. And I think that it's overpriced online. I really think it's overpriced online. And I saw it, and I was like, and I'm like, oh my god, I knew we were leaving back on the train the next day to Vancouver. I'm like, I would love to get back to this comic book store to be able to get this. But I'm like, that's never going to happen. And then we wandered off into the night, and I never thought I'd see that comic book store again. Where it seemed that the next day, we dropped all the stuff off at the train station, we walked back into town, we're looking for a place to eat. Lo and behold, the comic book store is just around the corner. We made our way back, and I was able to pick this up, and there's not many comic books that I know when I pick it up that I'm going to sit and 100% read in nearly a sitting. But this is one I knew I was going to. And you're going to scratch your head and say, what the hell is this? The Incal. The Incal. By Jarowski and Mobius. Now, in a new GameStop episode I did, I think about a couple months ago, I was talking about Jarowski's Dune. And he's a French director who acquired the rights to Dune back in the 70s. And he hired a whole bunch of great artists, H.R. Giger, Mobius, and a ton of others to do work on Dune. And the Dune project fell apart. It just was never meant to be, unfortunately. And everybody seemed to go their separate ways, and some people went on to work on the movie Alien at the time, where Jarowski and Mobius took off, and this is what they did afterwards. And wow, what a goddamn comic book. I mean, this is great. And it's so sad that Mobius has passed away, but it's so wonderful that his work still exists for us all to enjoy. And the funny thing about the Incal is this doesn't start for me now. This or a couple months ago. This started for me in 1982. I used to go over to my friend's place, and he had some older brothers, and they used to read Heavy Metal magazine. And it was a very, very edgy adult comic book magazine, and it had serials in it. Meaning serials as in comic books that would stories that would continue every month. So there'd be like 10 different stories you'd be following, and they were very, very adult, very edgy. And I loved it. When we were looking at reading them in the basement, it was like, oh my god, we should not be reading this stuff. But I enjoyed it because the science fiction stories were so adult. They had such complexity to them that I found it fascinating. And it was really inspiring to me. And this is the one, and I never knew the name of it back then. It was The Adventures of John the Fool. And he was getting chased by the Necroplex. I think it was the name of it. This is off the top of my head because I haven't sat and read the Incal. Yeah, but this is back from 1982, what I remember. And I was reading that back then, and then I realized years later how it was actually the Incal. That was the name of it. Jarowski had written it, and Mobius had drawn it, and they put together this awesome book. And oh man, the artwork on here is just extraordinary. It quite literally is an acid trip science fiction come to life. But beyond that, like, Mobius is one of my favorite artists of the 80s. There's not many people who can draw like he can draw, and this is very out there. This is very out there stuff, but very, very interesting. And I cannot wait for the Saturday afternoon when I can make a cup of coffee, sit down, and I'm like, it's the Incal time. You know, I can't wait for that moment. So, anyways, that's some of my Portland pickups. Ending off with a comic book there, but what a great trip to Portland. What a lot of great, games I was able to get. Games that I really was looking for, and I got them for an incredible price. I didn't pay a lot of money for these games, except Castlevania. But that was worth it. That's what you're going to get for, pay for Castlevania for sure. So, anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time.